The skeleton of a dragon may have just been discovered underneath the deep blue. Unfortunately, this newest discovery is so vague and secretive that we don't even know where it was found. An internet sleuth was browsing Google Earth and shared that the bones of this legendary monster were apparently found off the coast of an unnamed island, with the bones being over twice the size of the island itself. There is what the user says is the shape of a mythical dragon underneath the crystal blue waters, and it looks significantly different from any sandbar or buried geological feature. You can see the horns at the top of the head, the extremely long neck, and what could be ribs and bone fragments. While this would be awesome, other people claim that the person is just searching for shapes in the clouds and that the skeleton and horns are actually just a sandbar. Number 9. The frozen battlefield. The wreckage of the Swedish warship Mars was just found in pieces at the bottom of the ocean. This warship was made sometime between 1563 and 64, but then in 1564, while participating in the Northern 7 Years' War, the vessel caught on fire and exploded. Richard Lundgren from Ocean Discovery recently told National Geographic that he was intrigued by the legend of Mars since he was a little boy. Besides its historical value, there was a rumor that the ship had gone down with a large treasure full of silver coins. There were many attempts to find the ship, but all of them failed. Finally, Lundgren and his team hit the jackpot. He said that descending down towards the Mars wreckage was like jumping into a time machine and going 450 years back in the past. Richard and his colleagues not only found the broken vessel, but also the legendary treasure worth an enormous amount of money. There are estimated to be at least 220,000 silver coins scattered throughout the wreckage, but there could be more for them to find. Number 8. A tiny seahorse. In much cuter news, a new species of seahorse has unexpectedly been discovered off the coast of South Africa. This tiny little critter is about the size of your fingernail, and yet it is one of the most mystifying sea creatures recently found. It's only about 2 centimeters in length, and is the first ever pygmy seahorse seen in the waters off the coast of the continent. And what makes it even cooler is that the research team concluded that this newest seahorse is distinctly different from the other 7 known species, with its closest relative around 5,000 miles away. Pygmy seahorses are so incredibly unique that scientists have not been able to learn much about them, and even though they found this newest species and documented it, the small pygmy seahorse is still a scientific mystery. Number 7. Ancient Roman Sea Fortress. Russian divers recently stumbled upon an ancient Roman sea fortress hidden beneath the waves. This was done thanks to Russian scientists from Sevastopol State University, who were diving off the coast of Syria when they came upon 3 ancient naval structures, a fully blown port, and a Roman sea fortress that had apparently never before been discovered. And to make things even more interesting, the discovery was made near the port city of Tartus, which the Crusaders had called Tortosa. This place has a long history of combat, trade, and culture. It's also one of the best preserved Syrian-Palestinian medieval cities that is still around today. Number 6. A forgotten culture. A team of Native American tribal citizens recently came upon a rather unexpected discovery, which could be proof that a culture from the Ice Age lived in the Great Lakes area 10,000 years ago. The discovery was made in the Straits of Mackinac when the group used a remotely operated underwater vehicle to take a look at some oil and gas pipelines stretching across the bottom of the lake. They also found stones arranged in a variety of patterns on the lake floor, suggesting that at one time, a culture had been using the lake as some kind of settlement, long before it was ever filled with water. Because the citizens were able to find the ancient formations and patterns so easily by themselves, they questioned who else knew they were there and allowed the pipeline to be installed through them, completely destroying the historic location. It's likely that somebody knew the relics of an ancient civilization were sitting at the bottom of the lake, but they put the pipeline through anyway because they didn't care. Number 5. Ancient Underwater Cave. When researchers Fred Davos and Sam Meacham from the Quintana Roo Aquifer System Research Center decided to do a bit of diving in the submerged cave La Mina, they became the first humans to enter this mysterious site in about 10,000 years. This long-forgotten cave is located underneath the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Down in the murky depths of the underwater cave, these researchers discovered hammers made from broken stalagmites, a ceiling covered in soot, and traces of ochre, all of which have led them to believe the cave was used as a mine over 10,000 years ago. According to Brandy McDonald from the University of Missouri, archaeological evidence has suggested that human beings have been mining and utilizing ochre for hundreds of thousands of years. Humans use this pigment to make cave paintings and when practicing mortuary rituals. Number 4. Ancient preserved forest. Scientists have discovered a bizarre underwater forest that dates back 60,000 years, and they think that the preserved trees within this forest could help engineer new medicines. The forest is built of cypress trees, and it's located just on the banks of a wide river near the Gulf of Mexico. It was just as humans began wandering out of Africa that the trees here became buried under sediment. The sea level rose and the forest was submerged and buried. For 60,000 years, it remained completely undisturbed. Then, in 2004, Hurricane Ivan devastated the Gulf Coast. The seabed and the sediment that had kept the forest perfectly preserved were wiped away. A few years later, a team of scientists working from Northeastern University organized an expedition to go down there and bring back some pieces of the ancient lost wood. The operation was a huge success. They managed to haul some giant chunks of wood back up to the surface, and they found about 300 different organisms inside of it, including a type of shipworm. After isolating some bacteria from the shipworm specimens, 12 bacteria are currently undergoing specialized DNA sequencing, with hopes that they will be able to contribute to new drug treatments for pain and anti-cancer medications. Number 3. The Kibatos Castle. The Kibatos Castle is a Byzantine-era fortress sitting at the bottom of the Sea of Marmara in the northwest of Turkey. This ancient castle was first unearthed totally by accident in 2019, while archaeologists were doing underwater research in the area. They unexpectedly found the castle about 10 feet deep, totally submerged and mostly in ruins. Experts believe that the castle was probably submerged during an ancient earthquake, with a survey team currently searching for evidence to find out more about the castle and if it holds any interesting ancient secrets. As far as we know, the area in which the castle was found dates back to between the 4th and 12th centuries, being used by both the Byzantines and the Ottomans. There was also a pier and a lighthouse found near the castle, suggesting a catastrophic event destroyed a large section of the coastal town. The Kibatos Castle was constructed during the rule of Emperor Alexius, and it even served as a bastion of defense when battling against the European Crusaders. Number 2. India's Lost City. Marine archaeologists have used sonar scanning equipment to send beams of sound waves to the bottom of the sea, where they identified massive geometrical structures inside of a vast region about 5 miles long and 2 miles across. These geometrical structures are thought to predate the oldest remains anywhere in India by over 5,000 years. This accidental discovery was revealed by Graham Hancock in his new documentary, in which he details that there is an ancient city hiding at a depth of 120 feet, just 25 miles from the shore. However, according to Mr. Hancock, this discovery has been swept under the rug because archaeologists in power are afraid that it could flip everything we know about the origins of civilization on its head. He says that man-made objects from these submerged cities have yielded carbon dates up to 9,500 years old. That's 5,000 years older than any city discovered by archaeologists anywhere. Number 1. Submerged 7,000-year-old site. Stone tools scattered across the ocean floor off the coast of Australia have recently been dated back 7,000 years, making the submerged site the first of its kind. Australia has a long history of humanity going back at least 65,000 years. But because of the way the Earth has changed throughout those years, many of the most important sites are now under the surface of the ocean. The research team went in practically blind, not really knowing what to expect, and they said, "We just figured if we could throw every bit of technology and a lot of smart people at the problem, after 3 years, we should come up with something." The team used planes with LiDAR and sonar on boats to scan the area. But this area, known as Murujuga, also the Dampier Archipelago, has a wealth of archaeological sites. This dry and rocky region in northwestern Australia is already rich with over 1 million different examples of rock art and heaps of indigenous artifacts. But as the team found, there is even more just hidden off the shoreline. Thanks for watching. Bye!